Hello everyone, welcome to the Cinema Analysis channel. I am Juzo. This channel will explore the hidden truths of films that are not usually revealed. Today, I would like to talk about Munich. On the 5th of September 1972, Black September, the Palestinian militant organization invaded the athletes' village at the Munich Olympics. 11 people from the Israeli team were killed. The state vowed revenge. The government planned and carried out the murder of exactly the same number of enemy people. Now it is time for you to watch the film. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it first before watching this video, so let's get started. Many people, especially those who weren't born at the time, probably don't know about the murder of the Israeli team at the Munich Olympics. Many people probably didn't know about the terror if they hadn't seen the film. The athletes' village at the Olympic Games, the Festival of Peace, was invaded by the terrorists, and the 11 people in the Israeli team, including coaches and judges, were murdered. The first to be killed were Moshe Weinberg, the wrestling coach, and Joseph Romano, the weightlifter. Moshe Weinberg is said to have fought the terrorists without a weapon and to have broken the terrorist's jaw after being shot in the face. The actor who played him is Guri Weinberg, the US actor. The reason he has the same surname is because he is the son of Moshe. Guri was 1 year old when his father was killed. The terrorist's aim was to free the 234 comrades who had been captured by the Israeli military government. After various negotiations, the terrorists tried to escape with the hostages to Cairo in Egypt. The 9 hostages and the 8 terrorists boarded the Volkswagen bus provided by the German government and drove to the grass field near the athletes' village. Then they boarded the helicopter and flew to the Fürstenfeldbruck air base in Munich. For some reason, the government didn't attack the terrorists when they boarded the helicopter. The terrorists planned to board the jet at the base and flee to Egypt. The police opened fire. The shootout started. The 5 terrorists, all the hostages, and 1 policeman were killed. 3 terrorists were arrested. Imagine that 11 members of your country's Olympic team have been murdered. How horrible is that? And the Israeli government decided to take revenge for the incident, and it was carried out. As the operation was carried out in secret, the information was not to be leaked. It was only revealed to the public in 1976 in the book The Hit Team by David Tinney and Danny Thompson. On the 21st of July 1973, in Lillehammer, Norway, Ahmed Bouchiki, a Moroccan waiter, was walking happily outside with his pregnant wife. His body was riddled with bullets and he died. The people of Lillehammer, where there hadn't been a murder in 36 years, were astonished. The murderers were arrested by the local police. Then the surprising fact was revealed. They were the hit team sent by the Israeli Mossad, and the person they had targeted was a terrorist named Ali Hassan Salameh. They had mistaken the target for someone else and killed him. While researching the Lillehammer affair, the author, a journalist, came to know about the activities of the hit team. 6 years later, Vengeance by George Jonas was published. It is a book on which Munich is based. This book was written on the basis of the confession of the Israeli underground operative that the author Jonas heard. The operative is the person referred to in this book as Avner. This Avner is said to be Yuval Aviv, the founder of Interpol International, a corporate investigation firm in New York. Guessing from the description of the book, Abner was told about the assassination mission on Saturday, the 16th of September 1972. Abner was invited to the home of Golda Meir, the Prime Minister of Israel at the time, and he was told about the mission in front of the Prime Minister. Is it possible for a lowest level underground agent to meet a Prime Minister directly? It seems to be true, because it is written in the book. Abner had once served as Golda Meir's bodyguard. They knew each other. Abner accepted the offer and joined the hit team. The other members are four: Hans, Robert, Steve, and Carl. Abner, who was 25 at the time, the youngest, became the team leader. The reason he became leader was that he was a Sabra. That means an Israeli born in Israel. The Jews couldn't have their own nation until Israel was created after the Second World War. That's the reason being born in Israel has a special meaning for Israelis. And there are other reasons why Abner was chosen to be a leader. Abner was 12 when he went to Frankfurt to meet his grandfather. He lived there for 2 years because his grandfather broke his legs and they couldn't leave him there. During the time, he experienced European culture and learned to speak English and German. When Abner grew fond of Frankfurt, his mother rebuked him in a stern tone. Those who lived here tried to wipe out your father's and mother's families. After they returned to the country, they lived in kibbutz, an agricultural community in Israel. Most of the people of kibbutz were occupied by the lower Jews. For them, Western European Jews like Abner were outsiders who had never experienced the ghetto of the urban Jewish city and the shtetl, Jewish villages of Eastern Europe. Abner was born and raised in Israel. He knows Western European languages and cultures, and he has also experienced the society of the lower classes of Jews. This means that he has a complete picture of Israeli culture and can work abroad. And then his father turns out to be an ex-Mossad agent. He is the human resource the Mossad wanted most. That's why he's going to lead the operations that this story describes. And such experiences and nature will create his deep conflicts. Abner was forced to retire from the Mossad. The idea was to pretend that the Israeli government had nothing to do with the assassins. And the contract was signed. It is not said to be the contract in which were written the conditions that each of them should do, but the strange one in which were written the conditions that each of them should not do. This could be the idea close to the negative list that Army describes. It is a famous phrase, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions, familiar from the Mission Impossible series. This was done in the covert operations contract. The most important thing is to show that the government has nothing to do with it. The number of targets is 11, the same as the victims of the terror. The target of the first assassination was Zweiter, the PLO representative in Rome. Zweiter was a popular poet and a translator among left-wing intellectuals. He was targeted because the Mossad believed that he was the organizer and coordinator of Palestinian terrorist activities in Western Europe. Abner and Robert asked Zweiter, "Are you wired, Zweiter?" He replied, "Yes." Then they pulled out their guns, pulled the slide of their pistols, put the bullet in the chamber and pointed their guns at Zweiter. After some hesitation, they shot him about 6 times and got into the car to escape. Steve, the driver, asked them why they didn't kill him. They said, "We killed him. We shot him 8 to 10 times." After that, Carl went to the place where the killing took place and took the empty shell. I think I need to talk about this series of scenes. There are so many factors that it is difficult to understand. Why hadn't they prepared to shoot before they talked to him? Why did Steve think they hadn't killed him? Why did Carl take the empty shell? According to the original book, the two carried out the assassination with a .22 caliber Beretta pistol. The sound of the shot echoed inside the building, but was not heard by Steve, who was outside. And the importance of using .22 caliber pistols is detailed in the original book. In special operations, the accuracy of the shot, the quiet sound of the gunshot, and the secrecy of the carry are more important than the range and power of the shot. In the original book, it is written that the most important thing for the Mossad assassin is to avoid innocent civilian casualties. That's why it says that the weaker the gun's power, the more desirable it is. If the force of the gun is strong, it will have a greater impact and it will be more difficult to hit the target with the bullet. It becomes more possible to injure civilians, and the louder sound of gunfire will make people around you notice. Reducing the amount of gunpowder in .22 caliber cartridges reduces the power of the gun and the sound of the shot. Then it is not necessary to attach the silencer to the gun. And there is a description that Beretta has no safety. This describes that at the time, Beretta made some pistols without safety, like the M70 and so on. The protagonist was advised to practice pulling the slide of the pistol 1,000 times. This probably means that you shouldn't put a round in the chamber when you carry the gun. If there is no round in the chamber, there will be no accidental discharge. And it is just before the assassination when you should pull the slide, put the cartridge in the chamber correctly and shoot. It describes how important it is to carry out an assassination secretly without involving innocent civilians. That's why in the original book, the bullets from the reduced powder cartridges were fired 14 times. That's why Steve couldn't hear the shots. In the film, too, they pulled the slide just before the assassination. But it looks like the guns they use are the bigger ones, even though they are the same Beretta. They are too big from the point of view of concealment. It looks like the type of M1951, which is a 9mm caliber pistol, although it is unclear as in the dark place. In the original book, Robert tried to pick up the empty shells when it was not necessary, and Abner told him to forget it. And later, it is described that Carl, the sweeper, will pick it up even if you have left something that could be evidence at the scene of the assassination. Carl's job is to erase all the evidence of the assassination at the scene and ensure the assassin's escape. Card retrieval of the empty shell in the film is the expression of this. But if you will allow me to explain something in detail, it seems unnecessary for Card to retrieve the empty shell. It is impossible to recover the bullet fired into the victim's body. If it is possible to trace the killer from the empty shell, it is also possible to trace him from the bullet. Presumably, the pistols and bullets were untraceable. Card retrieval of the empty shell will be an expression of his role. The empty shell he retrieves appears to be the one from the revolver. I'm not sure there are cartridges of the shape for automatic pistols. Then they killed Mahmoud Hamshari, the PLO representative in Paris, with a bomb. And they killed Hussein Abad Asir in the same way. At the time, Avner was in the room next to the target. On the veranda, the target spoke to Avner. He was portrayed as a decent man. They had to kill the target. The force of the bomb was stronger than they had imagined, and Avner was almost killed. And the newlyweds in the next room were injured. According to the original book, Avner was in a car, not in the next room. There was no conversation with the target, and the newlyweds in the next room were not injured. The people who supplied Avner's team with information about the targets and the weapons like the bomb are the Frenchman called Louis and his group. They are the ones who prepared the bomb to kill Asir. In the film, distrust of Louis's group is gradually expressed from around here, and Louis delivered even bigger information. It is the information about the 3 people on the hit list. Avner reported it to Mossad. Ephraim, their case officer, ordered them to withdraw from the assassination themselves. He told them that the other special units would carry out the assassination, and he asked Avner to introduce Louis. Avner refused. He did not tell Louis that they were Mossad. This is to protect his team and to prevent the details of the operation from being revealed. If the 3 were killed in a conspicuous way, it will be known that Avner's team was Mossad. After discussion, it is decided that Avner's team will take part in the assassination. On the night of the 9th of April, 1973, Avner's team and the Israeli Special Forces invaded Lebanon and succeeded in assassinating the 3 targets: Kamal Adwan, Muhammad Youssef al-Najjar, and Kamal Nasser. According to one theory, nearly 100 Palestinian guerrillas were killed in the firefight. On the contrary, only one Israeli Special Forces soldier was killed. The local police didn't intervene because they were told that the internal conflict had started among the Palestinian guerrillas. It is the Mossad that gave them the false information from the public phone. The Israeli Special Forces and Avner's team escaped by sea. The Israeli side calls this operation Operation Spring of Youth, and the Palestinian side calls it Burden Massacre.